Hey, how's it going? Now, if you can remember, I started off my movie reviews by reviewing my favorite movie of all time. And now I'm going to have this review so that I can properly glorify what I think is the worst movie ever made. Okay, so here's the thing. Speed 2 Cruise Control. This movie is so bad, I just can't talk about how bad it is. Therefore, I'm going to bring a friend of mine. Give me a second. Let's talk about this movie! Okay, so Speed 2 Cruise Control was directed by the guy who did the first Speed, and he obviously learned nothing from that movie. Now, look who's here. There's no Keanu Reeves at all. Usually that's a good thing. Not here, because he was great in the first movie. Okay, so here. Who is here? There's Sandra Bullock. Now, when you hear Sandra Bullock in a movie, often the response is she's gonna be really likable, a really great performance, and you're gonna love her performance and her chemistry with somebody. I mean, seriously, if you give her with a rock in this movie, she would have great chemistry with that rock. Seriously. And here with Jason Patric, she has zero. No chemistry. Nothing. She has no chemistry. How can you make Sandra Bullock have no chemistry? Now listen. Also in this movie, as well as Sandra Bullock with zero chemistry, she gives a terrible performance. She doesn't even try here. She doesn't have any greatness in her performance. Nothing. There is nothing good about this performance. She has learned nothing from the first movie, and I can see why she doesn't do sequels anymore because of this. And also Jason Patric, I haven't seen any of his other movies, and I don't want to because he sucks in this movie. Seriously, he doesn't. If he tries, I couldn't tell because he was forgettable. I can't even remember his character's name. Seriously, I don't. I don't know what the name of his character is. How am I supposed to care for a character if I don't even remember his name? Yeah, he sucks in this movie. He's miscast in this role. He's probably miscast in any role in this movie, but whatever, he's miscast as an action hero. He never feels like he's an action hero. Next, Willem Dafoe. He is a great actor. I loved his performance in Spider-Man, a really underrated performance by him. Here, he is terrible. I don't blame that on him at all. He's a great actor. The big problem is that the script is just so bad it gives nothing for him to work with. He barely has any screen time. And worst of all, he goes so over the top that it's far from believable. I never felt threatened by him. I never cared about him because of the way the script portrayed him. Seriously, if this movie did not have a villain, that would have been better. That would have been one not so terrible thing about this movie. But it does, and the villain is terrible, played by a great actor who doesn't show any promise in this movie. Okay, next. And this is probably the biggest problem about this movie. This movie's action is absolutely boring. Seriously, in all of this movie, I never felt excited at all. In even some of the worst action movies ever made, in the Transformers movies, there are certain scenes, certain small scenes that I find some excitement in. Those sort of movies, they often suck, but there's always that little bit of excitement. And this movie, nothing. This movie has no excitement whatsoever. It doesn't even try with this action. It's so terribly shot, so much terrible cinematography and dialogue. This movie's action is not even action. It's just effects blown on the screen for no good reason. There was no excitement in this movie. I was bored out of my mind. The dialogue for this movie sucks. There's no good dialogue. There's no memorable dialogue. The script for this movie is generic. It's really generic. There's nothing special about this super cliched script. There is nothing exciting in any small shot of this movie. I am not kidding. This movie's budget is so big, and yet none of it shows. And not only that, it was released in 1997, so it looks like a Titanic ripoff. And probably worst of all, this movie's title is totally misleading. It does not deserve to be called Speed. It takes place on a slow-moving boat. Seriously, this movie takes place on a slow-moving boat, like 6 kilometers per hour. That is it. That is all of the time. This movie is so boring, and it's such a terrible title. They should have called it Slow. Just Slow. It would have made the movie slightly less terrible, very slightly, but it still kept that bit up there. Because it just wants to annoy you so much. So much that you can call it the worst movie ever made, which I am calling it. Also, have you ever thought that a boat crashing into a harbor would be really boring? No? Well, it is. The way they shot it, the way they executed it, it was so boring. I wanted to be excited by that, but I wasn't. It was so boring, so tensionless. It's so bad, this movie. I mean, seriously. I wish I never watched it. I wish I never watched a second. I only watched it so that I could properly prove that I could have a bit of fun talking a lot of bad stuff about movies because I find that pretty fun. But watching the movie is terrible. I cannot watch this movie ever again. I can never look at one shot of this movie. If I had a poster of it, if I was stupid enough to buy a poster of it, I'd rip it up straight away. Seriously, there is not one, not even close to one redeeming factor of this movie. I mean, seriously, look at Rotten Tomatoes. The first movie has 93%, phenomenal. The second one, 3%. It deserves 0. This movie, oh my god, this movie. Okay, my rating system is usually 1 to 10. What did this movie get? 0! This is the worst movie ever made. Never watch this movie. Never look at this movie. Never think about this movie. This movie sucks. It just sucks. Oh, I thank him for that. You might hear sometimes when I'm talking, like, really bad stuff about movies. So yeah, I couldn't say all that stuff because I just didn't have the guts, but he pulled it off, so round of applause for that. So yeah, that's my rating of this movie. Now, if you excuse me, I'm gonna go now, and I'm gonna have more videos up soon. I hope you like them. I'll try to get a new movie up soon. I'm having a bit of trouble with that, but I'll do it. Okay? And, as always, you don't have to go while you got Tamo!